last topic, man. I was going through some podcasts and I'm listening, and Robert Horry was on All the Smoke. Did y'all hear what he said?
I didn't hear it.
All right, so they asked him about the teams he played on, and he started describing how all his teams had great big men, and he said the top 5 big men, I played with 3 of them: Hakeem, Shaq, and Tim Duncan. And it was like, okay, well, which one is him? Out of those 3, which one is him? And this is what he said.
All the other teams I played for, the one common denominator was great big men. Think about Shaq, Tim Duncan. And if you say right now, name the top 5 big men, I played with 3 of them. Yeah. Who's? You play with 3 of them. Dream number 1 by far. We don't like to tell. Nobody wants to talk about. I think you have these guys who are quiet. Think about it. Dream, he's a really quiet guy. You can't get him to do much, to say much. So we kind of veer away from him. We don't talk about him. But to me, if you look at what he put together, defensive player of the year, MVP in one season, all-time leading shot blocker, those things that you look at his history and what he's done for the game and how he started the game. This dude didn't play basketball growing up. Went to U of H where you think we all went to college where they're going to teach you. U of H, they just roll the ball out there and he went to work. And so I think what his body of work is just incredible. And he's just a good dude too, man. That's what you have to think about, a good dude.
So key words. He said it's a king by far.
By far. That's
right.
Crazy.
And I heard Chris Broussard and Rod Parker talk about this on their podcast, and they were flat. They was appalled. They was like, first of all, Shaq has done way too much. Shaq was so dominant. Shaq got the ring. Shaq did this. Shaq did that, and it was like they pretty much said Shaq blows Hakeem out of the water. Tim Duncan is, as a matter of fact, this is what they said. They said Tim Duncan is 1, Shaq's 2, Hakeem is 3. Right. So my question to y'all is, do y'all think Robert Horry is correct in saying that Hakeem is the better player out of all those 3? If not, then tell me how y'all got it.
Whew. Listen, that's tough. Listen, for one, I'm not going to discredit Robert Horry because, like he said, he definitely played with all three, and all 3 when they were those dudes, like when they were who made them who they are. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
When I look at things a little subjective. I think we was talking about Jokic. Like when we talk about skill, I think we can no disrespect to Shaq, but skill wasn't his forte. His was sheer force.
Yep.
With Hakeem, it was more skillful, like the mid-range jump shots, the turnarounds. In addition to him being skilled as a big man, he was a all-world defender, and so I get it. And so I'm not mad at the take. Skill-wise, I always think skills, like you were saying earlier, Mel, player versus player. When you talk about who's the better player, we got to look at all things. We can't just look at what you were in the league around the team. Right. And so I'm not mad at that. I am not mad at him putting Hakeem first because when you talk about skill, I still think Tim Duncan maybe, I got them 1 and 1A, but I think Shaq is under them, not because of, disrespect to Shaq, but, he just wasn't a skilled big man.
No.
He wasn't a skilled big man.
It's the difference between a Lamborghini and a diesel truck.
I don't know if I could have said that any better. That's exactly.
Yeah. Since you're hitting on what I was thinking, that's why I have no issue with it. I've always been a fan of Hakeem, and my thing is who did Hakeem beat to get one of those championships?
He definitely beat Shaq.
I mean,
would you say Shaq was in his prime, or a player that good? It don't matter if you're in your prime or not.
Well, at that time, Shaq was good enough that his name was in the NBA. So,
but he was that year he was a 3rd-year player or a 2nd-year player.
I think
he was a 3rd-year player.
I think Hakeem putting the beats on Shaq helped Shaq get to his prime.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. They helped him get to LA too. He ran away from. He went straight there.
It helped him in more ways than one.
Yeah.
Yeah. So no, that's why I have no issue with the take, and I mean, especially when I'll take definitely Robert Horry's opinion on that. Especially, I mean, you seeing pretty much a glimpse of them as a person, as well as what are they putting into the game to get prepared for it, how they go about being a professional. So I mean, I kind of take that into account too. So yeah, I got no issue with it.
Yeah, Chris.
I'm kind of less informed on it because around the time Hakeem was doing this thing, I was in a nutsack. So so I only really know.
I'd rather be inside a nutsack than on a pillowcase because. Go ahead though.
Yeah. So I only really know the Shaq and Tim Duncan side of it.
Okay.
But I have seen highlights of Hakeem, and I know that's not really enough to basing or forming an opinion on. But from what I do know about Shaq was like Zoe said, just force power, bearing down on you, shoulders in your chest, back down. Can't score it down there on them because he's sending everything. He's just a dominant force like that. But if you can have still a defensive presence and some offensive prowess and finesse, I'm gonna take that over just being a glass beater. You know what I'm saying? So Hakeem is a bit more, like you said, he's more skillful. He has more of an offensive prowess. A slightly deeper bag offensively than Shaq does.
Slightly.
Nah, it ain't slightly.
Okay, well, a deeper.
You talking about a Grand
offensive
Canyon
bag.
dog?
Yeah.
So a deeper offensive bag than Shaq does. So I would have to put Hakeem over Shaq, but I would also have to put Tim Duncan over Shaq.
Interesting.
I'm not mad at that
because although Tim Duncan might not have been the defensive stalwart that Shaq was, he was still pretty good. And I mean, they don't call him the big fundamental for nothing. That man knows how to hit every corner of that box to get that ball in there.
Man, he had that was crazy.
Yo.
Clip? Oh, that's definitely getting clipped, bro.
Yo, come on, bro.
Hey, and Mel won't even send that to no AI to find that. He gonna find that personally. He already marked it. He said about one.
What time?
Wow. He said every corner.
Every corner. He gonna hit every corner of that box. Yo. That was great.
Y'all know what I meant, man.
No, I don't. No, we don't know what you mean.
Nah, we don't know what you meant.
The shooting square on a backboard. There we go.
Oh man,
the bullseye that they tell you in junior high.
Sure.
Oh man, but
that's
yeah,
funny.
Tim Duncan, man, he's a bucket. Like I don't care what anybody says. Tim Duncan was a bucket. And,
what Duncan and Shaq is about preference. I mean, all three of these dudes so good, man. It's ridiculous, man. But I'm telling you, Hakeem was another animal, but the same beast at the same time, man. And
Kobe, what does that mean?
Yeah, man, bro, I'm telling you, man, Hakeem was, dude. It wasn't nothing like him, man. And on the defensive end, even though Shaq was a big dude and agile and he got blocks, he was not that good of a defender like that. Like he was horrible on screening rolls. That's why Detroit took advantage of him on those screening rolls. He couldn't do much outside the paint. And then he was a good shot blocker, but when he was in LA and he started getting north of 300 pounds, he was not that good of a shot blocker. Yeah, he was a good shot blocker in Orlando.
Mm-hmm.
Right, Zoe Morning and Mutombo and Hakeem were better shot blockers than Shaq. And that's just where Dwight Howard is a better shot blocker than Shaq. So it's just so much to Hakeem. And then like if you think about it, like if you're trying to learn basketball and you're a 7-foot center that want to learn basketball, everyone's calling Hakeem because there's a well to be drawn from. With Shaq, you can't teach me how to be 300 pounds, agile and 7 foot. You can't teach me that, right? So what can Shaq teach someone? Like he sent his own son to someone else. You get what I'm saying? So it ain't much you can teach me from Shaq, but I can go to Hakeem. Even if I'm a guard, I can learn the whole post game from Hakeem, the whole back to the basket game from Hakeem, the whole face up in the post from Hakeem. I can learn so much from Hakeem.
Who LeBron goes to go get a post game?
Hakeem. Dwight went to Hakeem.
Kobe
went to Hakeem.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So that kind of narrows it down for me. Like, do you have something that you can pass down, or was it just all about your size and your speed and your athleticism? So